Community. I'm Stephen Dinelli, concept art lead for Shroud of the Avatar, and I am here with
Fire Lotus. Hello, everyone.
our community manager. Fire Lotus has made her trek north and is, what, 5,000 miles from our current location? Sounds like you're typing, so we muted your mic. You gotta be. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Okay, I didn't want feedback to...
Oh, okay, got it. So Fire Lotus is now setting fire to the wilds of Alaska with penguins that aren't from Alaska.
Yes, I know penguins aren't from Alaska, but I didn't have a puffin, so this is as close as it gets.
It's cute. It's cute. I should have shut the door. Gina, we have. Oh, thank you. Gina, we have some challenges today. Community, need your help. We have a multitude of buildings that I need to get done as soon as possible. Tavern, and I think we can say Fire Lotus's Tavern was completed successfully, and I believe a wonderful suggestion of overhanging the second floor. We also have a alchemist building, stables. That's pretty boring, so we don't need to do that. A city building and a shop. And I know Fire Lotus has already posted the question to you. What would you like to see me draw today? And do we have any front runners, Fire Lotus?
So far, it looks like Alchemist has the most votes. Though General Shop has also shown some interest, but not even close to Alchemists.
Okay, I think we're going to go with Alchemist today then. This 1 hour is actually going to help me get ahead of the schedule. Okay, it's probably just going to get me close to being on track on the schedule. I'm an artist. Getting ahead of the loop is a little tough. So let me start. I'm going to adjust the camera here so you can look over my shoulder. Let's see what we're taking a look at. What are we looking at? There we go. Bringing it back a little bit, and now ideally I would want to rotate it. That's not quite working.
We honestly had this working and functional beforehand.
I know. It always works when you do the test, and then when you go live, who knows what's happening. Okay, there we go. That looks pretty good from my view. Community, what do you think?
Looks great.
Excellent. And I will do my best not to unplug it because it's actually strung right across my lap. So before we start the Alchemist Lab, I just want to touch on Fire Lotus's Tavern and what the exterior looks like, getting some outbuildings, cobblestone path. We're going to take the second floor and extend it so there's a porch protecting you from the sun and the weather. And then the interior here lines up right on top. And as you go in the tavern, you have a piano to a right, a long bar. Behind the bar is storage for liquor. In the wall, you've got kegs of ale. Above that, you have racks for wine and brandy, stairs that take you up to lodgings. Two doors that go to the kitchen, and a fireplace that is split on both sides so that the cooks are using one side of the fireplace and it's warming the common room on the other. And of course, the Fire Lotus coat of arms above the fire. And then we have 4 alcoves here for kind of private conversations, booze, that sort of thing. And the little pieces that essentially go in the bar, the benches, the table, the chair, the bird rack, some bottles, candles, and a lantern. And these images are scanned in, and I will actually be building out a formal image of this in Photoshop. I've not done that yet. So, Fire Lotus, when you think about an alchemist lab, what comes to mind?
Well, lots of potions. I tend to think of them as very organic. You know, you're going to have a lot of herbs. You're going to have a lot of the components for your potions as well. So lots of glass, lots of organic material, kind of a very earthy, almost ethereal feel to the place.
Okay. Could we do something like a, I don't know, what do you think, an alchemist druid tree? Is that too wild? Is that too organic?
I don't know, that's pretty cool.
Is it pretty cool? Okay, well, it is concept, and at this point in the process, we always want to keep it wide open. And the sky's the limit within reason. Let's take a look at, so I believe this was the Wizard's Tower that we created a couple of weeks ago, and it has the outer tower for celestial viewing, nice little front entrance, waterfall. And there's something fantastical but magical about that. And then we have the castle for the lords of the castle. These tend to be a little more whimsical, which I think is a good place to start. So, an alchemist tree. Silence is compliance. So the first thing I'm going to do...
Forgetting to actually click the unmute button.
That's all right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a search for old oak tree. Where are we? And let's go to images. I'm tempted to actually just do this on my computer because I'm connected here, but I'm not completely confident in what Google's going to bring up. And we are a family-friendly show.
Yeah, there's always that chance that something interesting will come up.
Yes. So we're going to stay away from the interesting and just see what we can find on my phone. And wow, oak trees, for the most part, the images that I'm seeing are kind of boring. But this guy right there, so I'm going to hold this up to the camera.
Oh,
looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to start with that. And I've got my thick marker, my Prismacolor 80% gray, and just want to be thinking about, you said organic shapes, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so I just want to get some flow here. So Fire Lotus, how did the familiars do on the flight up?
Only one of them peed all over themselves, so I was pretty pleased with that. They hid for about 3 days until I arrived, and they're just starting to come out now and socialize.
Excellent. So I'm liking that shape, certainly for a tree, but it's probably starts to get a little too spread. If you imagine an old oak tree that's been hollowed out for someone's home.
Yeah,
So,
I'm thinking of Bob's expression when you show that to him.
speaking of Bob, I think we need to bring Bob back next week and have him join in.
That would be awesome. We should
Yes.
start a petition to bring Bob back, because
Yes.
he's really actually quite shy when it comes to the camera. But once you get him in front of the camera, he's good to go.
He is, and we haven't heard any of his stories recently, so it
I
would
know
be
he
good to
posted
catch up.
pictures. I guess he has a mama and fawn that he's been feeding off his back porch. So I know he's got some new stories.
Excellent. Yeah, next week, I say we get Bob back. Okay, so this one, kind of keeping the flow going from left to right for the most part. Let's see, and maybe the alchemist's house is up on a hill. Get some gnarly roots there. And then I think maybe we'll do just kind of one odd bird branch off to the side there. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about that. It's a decent rough, and I'm going to do one more pass just to get the shapes down. Fire Lotus, I'm sure that you're inundated with questions from the community. I have no idea what they're asking.
They're actually talking about Bob, and we look like we have a pretty big lag between our broadcast and when the questions, when I see people responding to things that we're saying. So,
really? We talking like a 2-minute lag, or?
Yeah, easily. I'm not really happy with the way the Google broadcasts have changed.
Yeah.
You know, it went from an 8-second delay where it was really easy to keep up with the chat to something that, you know, is quite cumbersome, actually.
Yeah. I think afterwards, going to have a conversation with Vaughn and ask him to put on his to-do list is find us some type of new video feed software. Because that's a 2-minute delay is unacceptable.
Yeah, I think I'm going to investigate Twitch TV. A lot of people have talked very highly about that. The problem is we would probably need a commercial account, and we've been trying to avoid that. We want to put our money into development and not into extras right now.
Right.
There'll be time for that when we get closer to launch.
Totally get that. So between the dev chats and all the things that we do.
We've also got a lot of people are kind of listing off things that you'd find in an alchemy shop, mortar pestle, lots of scrolls and papers, that kind of thing as well.
Well, I like that.
Perhaps a cat.
Oh, nice. We'll do a quick rough on the exterior, and then we'll take a look to the interior. How's that sound?
That is looking really gorgeous.
Okay. And that's the shape I'm feeling comfortable with. So I'm going to use this as a guide, and I'm actually going to go in here with my 30% gray Prismacolor. And you know what I'm missing? Glasses. Would help me see. All right, much better. So I'm going to go in here with the 30% gray, and again, I'm going to imagine the light source coming from the upper left down to the, make sure I don't get my head in there. There we go. Down to the lower right. And it has been many years, but when I first got my start in the art field, I was working for an environment services firm, and I was part of the architect landscape architecture department. And I worked with an amazing group of people who had all gone to Harvard for architecture and landscape architecture. And one of the fun things about working with them is that they were very happy to share whatever knowledge they had about techniques and art and philosophies. And actually that's the Francis Ching book, Form, Space, that's where that came from, is working with these landscape architects and architects. Okay, so since a tree is organic, I'm keeping the movement lines flowing, all for the most part going in the same direction.
So how does putting an asset like this into the game, or a house like this into the game, differ than putting a more standard structure?
Well, with standard structures, you have, well, it's less poly-intensive because it's square, man-made. The more organic something becomes, the more expensive polygonally it becomes. One of the advantages is you don't need a large varieties of material. You need bark, you need the wood where the bark is worn away, you know, maybe some sap, some leaves, some moss, that. So the overhead for your materials isn't as high. Okay, so I'm going to go back in here and reinforce this. And the reason I brought up the experience of working with these architects and landscape architects is that there is a very simple way for illustrating trees. And what they would be sure to do is make sure that the upper part of the tree was always in shadow, because it was right under the leaves, and then as you go further down the tree, it's being hit with sunlight. So there was always this hard shadow edge that they had. And it works. And at a certain point in this process, you're going to see how that works, but right now this is probably running pretty light. Gina, can you see that okay? It looks good on my screen, but...
It's a little light on this end.
Okay. All right, so why don't we go in here with the 50% gray and up the intensity. Actually, before I do that, I think I'm just going to block in some things. Now, this is a monstrous oak tree that the alchemist has converted into his house. How's that sound? So we're going to have a door down there.
Wow, that is a big tree. Now that you've put the door in there and given it some perspective.
Yeah. I think, of course, we've got to have a nice little shop window. And then inside there will be some kind of spiral staircase that will take you up to the second floor. And actually, maybe we'll do something where he's like built in some windows in there. How's that sound?
I'm waiting for the Keebler elf to poke his head out.
Yes, actually, it does look like the Keebler elf tree, doesn't it? Wow. Now that you've said that, I totally want to stop. However, you want to keep going because
It's going to be so much cooler than a Keebler elf tree.
it is. Well, and figuring out what you do want and what you don't want is always important. Okay, I've got a block in there I'm feeling comfortable with. So I'm going to grab the 50% gray, and I'm going to come in here and hit this again so it shows up better on the video. Is the Keebler elf still around, Fire Lotus?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure they are. I haven't seen many commercials lately, though. Maybe they're revolutionizing for the internet age.
Yeah. Does anyone watch TV anymore?
Right now, I've got a desk, my computer, an office chair, and an air mattress. So I'm living about as close to minimalistic as possible.
Like that. So that looks like it's coming through much clearer.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Wonderful. And I think one of the things I'm going to do is actually turn some of these branches that I was drawing in to stumps. Let's see
One
what
of
the
our
marker.
community members linked a picture of the Keebler elf tree for you.
Thank you.
It definitely looks different.
Wow. That's our alchemist lab. That's totally it. I cannot get that picture out of my mind now. Thank you.
Well, yours looks a lot more earthy, kind of ominous, magical almost. It has a living quality to it that the other one just screams, you know, typical tree. Yours has personality.
Thank you. Okay. That a little thicker there. Bring down some more of the shape for the bark. Just get that nice heavy line. So some of you may or may not know, but Fire Lotus was touring around in the robot today for the first time.
That was fun, and then it broke. And they assure me that I did not break it, that it overheated, but we started getting a lot of pixelation and a lot of lag. So Nate or Vaughn is currently operating on it, I believe.
He is seeing what he can do to fix it.
Artemis pointed out that there needs to be something for good ventilation, like a chimney or something to let gas and smoke escape.
Thank you, Artemis. Yes, there does. And I'm going to put said chimney right here. There we go. It's probably, scale-wise, it's like a massive chimney, but we'll work it out.
It probably gets pretty smoky in there. I mean, brewing smoke
It does.
is a gritty business.
This manufacturing of things that don't exist. All right. I feel really good about the tree shape. Let's see where we can go with the rest of it. And at this point, I'm going to take my ultra fine point Sharpie, which is my favorite pen to draw with. And I'm going to get close, but I'm going to try not to block the camera. And one of the things I'm doing, I'm going to take a moment here and just talk about trees in general. With a tree, and a friend of mine, Mark Sealander, up in Seattle, turned me on to this guy, and Mark, please forgive me, I don't remember his name, but he was talking about a tree, and when you draw a tree, it's a Y. And if you take the end of each of those Ys and you draw yet more Ys, you very quickly end up with a pretty good looking tree. It's just Ys. And I really like that concept. I wish I could remember the fellow's name. When I was talking about the skill set I learned from the architectural illustration. Let's see if I can do this. Nope. Let's try it again.
I love how forcefully you just balled that up and tossed it.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's not working.
So Redrick on chat said that he really likes how the two branches on the side resemble arms. Considering all the chemicals and potions that may have leaked into the tree's roots, I'd imagine the tree is almost alive and acting as some sort of guardian to defend the lab from invaders. That's kind of a really neat concept.
Yes, it is. I love it. Okay, so this is a tree. It's on the ground. The tree itself and the branches are casting a shadow. That shadow for the branches is indicated, and these upper parts of the tree are all in shadow. Get a few more in there, and voila, instant tree. We've got the light hitting the top of the tree here. We've got the leaves underneath in shadow. Shadows casting on the upper branches. The light is hitting the lower part of the tree, highlighting it, which then again casts shadows on the ground. So lots of light and shadow.
You almost make that look easy enough where I'm tempted to try it myself.
It is easy. So the last thing I want to talk about are tree branches. trying to think. People usually draw trees like that, right?
That looks more like something I'd come up with.
So one of the things I do, if you look at a tree branch, you know, sometimes people do it like that, but a tree branch is like this series of I don't even know how to explain it. These growth points, and then the branch decides to go a different direction and then changes direction again and again and again. And sometimes you get these little smaller branches growing off it. And in doing that tree branch, boy, I'm trying to, honestly, the best example is just take a look at a tree. Not a tree in your yard or a tree that you'll see in a mall parking lot. You got to go out in the woods. Trees in office parks are all...
I may actually be able to help with that.
There you go. That's brilliant. Go outside, take a look at a tree, and try and understand how it works, how the light plays off it. Okay. Back to the alchemist house. So, coming in here with my Sharpie, and I'm just reinforcing those branch lines. There we go. So the upside is now I have a live feed, so I can see when I'm actually blocking the view. And come down here, do a little bit of a roof. So we've got a window here, maybe some supports. And some shingles. I've actually been doing quite a bit shingle-wise recently. And then I'm just going to indicate some of the shape of the tree there to help set that window in place. And these back branches, I'm not even going to outline. I think there is enough visual information there that you can really see what's going on. And then I will just focus on the broken stump here from back in the day when the tree was young and vibrant and massive. I think we're going to have to get this guy in here also. And then put in the chimney, which is a wonderful suggestion.
So when you're concepting on your own, not on the broadcasts, do you ever miss the feedback? Does that help, or does it ever become confusing having different voices?
It helps actually quite a bit. In '97 through 2000, I pursued freelance art, and I did book covers, magazines, a lot of editorial work. And the hard part about it, I was out in rural Wisconsin. I didn't have a community to bounce ideas off or get feedback on my art. Studios are very successful when you have artists working together. There are those who I am of the opinion that artists working together can get better faster. So if you're interested in pursuing art and you're just kind of doing it on your own, find like-minded people. When I first started, and actually I was working for the engineering firm, I would hang out till 2 or 3 in the morning with another friend who loved comics. And we'd hang out at a local coffee shop, drink coffee, smoke cigarettes, and draw comic books almost all night long. And it was that was back in the day when people wore berets and you didn't laugh at them. I think I probably still laugh back then. But you get the idea. Having a community to share feedback with for just about anything, I think is hugely beneficial. Okay. The other branch here.
We've got about 20 minutes left.
20 minutes. Are we supposed to do anything specific?
Oh, you're the one who had the email, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Maybe go faster?
No, I think there's some really great lessons, especially in, you know, we've seen buildings, we've seen characters up until now. Now we're looking at another style, another way to create something different. So I think everyone's really enjoying it. Chat is pretty quiet, and that's usually an indication that they're captivated.
Really? Or there's no one left?
Oh no, there are definitely people watching.
Excellent. So one of the things I'm doing with these windows is giving them a more natural feel, a little more organic. So yes, they're built out of wood, and I'm sure that they're built on some kind of grid. They are attached to essentially what is an old tree that doesn't have much life in it.
And that's funny because most of the comments coming from chat are saying the tree definitely looks alive. So even though it's a dead, hollowed out tree, it definitely has, it has a personality. It has,
right. I think they're right, though. I think it does look alive, and if I was trying to do a dead, hollow-out tree, I failed. But that is what concepting is about. You're solving a problem. It's like we want to create a dead, hollowed-out tree, but we want it really organic and tree-like. Well, it's very organic and tree-like, but it screams alive and power and strength. There's not much about it that feels dead. So that's something. And I think I'm actually going to do a set of 3 windows here, since he is an alchemist and this is his shop. Letting people peek in and see what he's doing, I think would be a very good idea. So when he built this into the hollow of the tree, do you think he would just use wood? Does that make sense?
probably not. I mean, the hardware and such would likely be non-wood.
You don't think he would like build it out of stone or something, do you?
I don't know. It could make an interesting contrast.
Yeah. Well, let's put stone down below here. I like the idea of contrast. Something that's very important about concepting is don't be afraid to explore. It's, we've spent, what, 45 minutes here? This is feeling pretty good, and if we do indeed have a tree alchemist shop or any type of tree that you could live in, this is in the neighborhood of what potentially could be in the game. Pending approval by Lord British. All right, you can see that pretty clearly, correct?
Yep, looks great.
Excellent. Thank you, Fire Lotus. Okay, I'm going to come back in here with the thick marker, and I want to hit the parts of the tree that are just really important to pop out to me. And certainly that chimney is one of those elements. Oops. Hit this window. The part of the tree is worn away in there. We can probably even use this guy a little more than we normally would. Gives us a pretty tasty shape. And certainly enough visual information there so that the production team could build that. So I'm going to come back one more time with my 50% gray. Actually, I might come back again. And I'm just going to start pulling out a little more light and shadow information. So next week when we have Bob on, what do you think we should take a look at? Do you have ideas, Fire Lotus?
I personally would love to show some of the things he's doing, how he's taking the gray boxes and getting all of these phenomenal assets in game. That is a tricky part, though, because some of them I know they're not quite ready for that
right
yet.
You know, I have some approved concepts of things coming that we could show the community.
Oh, that would be great.
All right. So let's take a look at.
Mentioned that he was working in ZBrush this morning during the stand-up.
He is getting up to speed in that. Though with Max 2013, you get Mudbox. So there'll quickly be the battle of ZBrush versus Mudbox.
Oh, see, that in and of itself could be like, you know, a fantastic kind of take on the next Hangout.
There you go. Though I'm in the Mudbox camp just because I've used Mudbox. So let me, I want to come in here with just one more thing, and that is with the windows, I want to darken them in just to help enforce that it's daytime. And there we go. How's that?
Oh, that's
So
very
this
cool. I didn't realize you had the detailing on the window panes. That's really nice.
Yeah. So we have, here is our old ancient oak tree that our neighborhood, that our city or town, village alchemist has actually converted into his own home. I don't know what the viability of this is in the game, but certainly looks neat. Attractive piece of concept. So I'm going to switch you over to screen share and show you what we've got going here. And in this particular case, you may recognize the tower on the far right side, and that is the Knight's Keep. And with the Knight's Keep, and certainly with all the housing, we're going to have a substantial amount of variation, and as time goes on, the more variation we'll have. But we have the large Knight's house, then we have the smaller Knight house, and then we have the small Knight's Keep, something that you might find in a village.
And so I guess here we also have a look at what the lot sizes are how they're gonna compare.
That is correct. The lot sizes will vary from village to town to city, as I understand it right now. Here we have a look at some, essentially I guess you would call them wizard's towers. Smaller single tower with a spiral staircase on the outside, the village wizard. A larger multi-towered place, actually with the open area in case the wizard wants to watch the sky. It's very interested in celestial things. And then finally, just the massive multi-towered, very large wizard's keep or house. And back to our alchemist tree. So now that we have the tree and we're feeling pretty good about it, let's take a look at what the inside could be. And normally I would probably just take this and then trace right on top of it, because however it is a straight on, essentially section view, and I want to do more of a 3/4 just so we can get an idea of how the space is laid out. So I'm going to leave this right here. I'm going to take my 80% gray, and I'm going to create kind of that plan perspective view of what this oak tree, old oak, would look like. So here we have the interior, and then the exterior, and the door would be here, and the windows are right there. And I think once we go in, we've got to have some kind of spiral staircase up to what would be the second floor of the tree house. We're going to offset it a bit, and we're going to do something, above the door. He's cut in this little window alcove. On this side, he's got another window alcove. You can see those indicated on the trees, or on the tree right there. And he's got the smokestack, so I'm thinking maybe the fireplace that he's working with. Or you think maybe this alchemist is, he's got a little bit of Benjamin Franklin in him. He's invented the potbelly stove, perhaps? I don't know, but whatever he's got going, he's definitely got some pipes going up from the first to second floor and then out the tree like that. Got our stairs coming up, staircase comes up right there. I know this might be just looking like scribbles, but I kind of got an idea of where we're going here. That's flat there. We've got this guy here. We've got the window here. And then maybe, maybe even there's a third level. What do you think? Should we do it?
Well, he has to have someplace to live.
Right.
Or, you know.
So it's all the way at the top like that. So that gives us some interesting shapes.
A lot of positive feedback on the lots and the houses of house. You can tell they're the same style of house, but accommodated for each lot size and made grander and more, just kind of more epic as you move up from village to town to city.
Correct. Would you like me to bring those up again? It's our community commenting.
I think that they got plenty of screenshots. In fact, they're asking me if I can post them to the website, which I told them they'd have to wait until they got final approval in order for me to post them, because it's the official website. However, what they do on their fan sites, I can't, you know, I'm not going to be the fan site police. But they just have to understand they are in concept stage and prototype. They're not final and official yet.
Okay, so it's probably not a good idea to show them the next level that's work in progress, huh? I'm going to get in trouble, aren't I? I think you're blushing.
A little bit, just a little bit.
So, community, if you're really enjoying this show, try not to blur out those pictures, pixelize them, put a Sasquatch running through them or something. Because I would really like to be here next week with you.
Oh, I think they understand that, you know, at this stage everything is still in development, and there's differences what I can post as official, you know, captures versus what they can share.
I know. I'm being sarcastic. It's my witty sense of humor that only I find funny. What I'm going to do is do the second pass with the 50% gray so everyone can see how this is working. And essentially, I am drawing the outline of the interior floor. The inside of the tree, and you can see that I'm going with essentially these cloud shapes. The tree is very organic. If you slice it through the middle, you can see that. Okay, and these are our 3 floors. And just come back through here, and I'm going to probably got a little thick there. I know with some of this I've got to indicate the that staircase. And that staircase comes up over here. Like that. And then we have staircase coming up like that. So I had a interesting experience this weekend. I painted on canvas for the first time in 6 years.
Oh, wow.
I went to a local paint shop called Pino's Palette, where drink wine and do a painting in 3 hours, and I will post and link pictures of it later tonight to my Facebook page so you can see it. But
oh, I can't wait.
A lot of fun, and it felt great to be painting again. And I like the idea of 3 hours. So I'm trying to think of ideas of how we could tie in painting, the need for what we're developing in the project, and doing things for the community. Let's see if I can get Dennis Loubet to come out one night. Maybe we can paint together.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Yes, that could be fun. It could be lots of fun. Okay, so you can see the 3 layers of floor, an indication of staircase with these going up. Trying to think of what's going to be next. So the thick lines that I've indicated here are actually, you can imagine, just a slice being taken out of the tree and what's underneath there. And so I'm going to come in here with my 30% gray and just indicate some cast shadow. So like this side of the wall is all going to be in shadow. I promise to go marker shopping by next week.
We're just about out of time for today.
I know. Do we have any final questions from the community?
They're very excited and looking forward to seeing your painting. In fact, some people are offering to buy it.
You'll have to ask my son. But I'm going to do a lot more. I found it very enjoyable, and you're limited by time. You have 3 hours start to finish. It's almost like speed painting. You're looking at an existing painting, and wine is involved.
I'm sure the wine helps.
It did. I was going to ask about scotch. Actually, wine and chocolate mousse cake.
Oh.
Yes. Central Market chocolate mousse cake. It was yum. So let's take a look here. So we have our Alchemist lab that is built out in an old oak tree. And then we're starting to work on the interior. First floor, stairs go up to a second floor, stairs go up to a third floor where the building or bedroom would be. And do you mind if we run a few minutes long?
Nope, I don't think that'll be a problem at all.
Okay. I'm going to come in here with the one of the tech pens, the Sharpie, and just kind of indicate some of the things of what this is, and I think that'll help people grok it a little better. And forgot to include a little bit of shadow right here. Gina, I just had a thought. It's rare, but it happens. What if we took the whole Portalarium team and had everyone do a painting, Lord British included, and then we gave those away or raffled them off for a charity or the Kickstarter?
Oh, that would,
not the Kickstarter, but the project.
that would be fantastic. I think that would be really. I would enjoy that. I tend to be a very creative soul. I'm sure some of the programmers might flip out if we said that, but I think they could probably come up with something pretty amazing if pushed and coerced and bribed, maybe.
Oh, that's true. Wine was involved. With this
I do think so. Alcohol would have to be probably provided.
Yeah, notice how I keep focusing on that? That's kind of a fixation. So I'm going to indicate some window frames here. And the door frame.
Oh, the community is very, very excited about the idea of the team painting something.
It could be fun. It could be a lot of fun. And the program is designed for people who have never done art or painted before. The teacher runs the class and walks you through step by step. And some of the points that she brought up I thought were absolutely brilliant, and I hadn't thought about it. And mind you, yes, I just went my own way and just was painting to be happily painting. But the thought process was certainly there. Okay, we'll put some mutton bars in the windows here. We've got our door, and then I think we said we're putting our fireplace over here, correct? Put the hearth, and certainly this is the kind of thing where I'm going to have to go over it again a few times just to get everything down, but you'll get the idea. And then here on the second floor we'll run the pipe up through it, and then it'll go out the top of the tree like that. So you come in the shop, obviously need some kind of display counter, correct?
Definitely.
Yep. So display counter, and honestly probably some walls, because you want some privacy there. You know, the front is a shop. Maybe we'll do something by the stairs. There's a doorway to the back room.
Don't want to keep all your secrets away. You want to have some place where you keep your most valuable roots and herbs and potions. Maybe special orders.
Oh, I love it. The vault. Should we put a secret herb cellar down there?
Oh, I think they would love to have a cellar.
Yes. Okay, cellar's coming up next. We'll put that down there like this. Cellar. And up here will be the bedroom. Put the Minecraft bed. Yes, I play a lot of Minecraft. 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes of night. Fast forward night. All right, community. Here is where we ended up. The exterior of the tree. It's been abandoned and converted into someone's home, in this case a alchemist. And the interior, first floor shop, where he's got his display case and counter that he works behind. stairs up to the second floor. Maybe that's where he keeps everything, and it's a locked door to get to the stairs. His fireplace where he mixes and matches all of his chemicals, and then finally on the third floor is the bedroom.
I love it.
I think it's pretty neat. Look out, it's the hand. The hand is coming. We can move this back into a suitable position. Guess that's a little low. How's that? Kind of crooked? Community, I just want to take a moment and say thank you for all your support and your active participation. As I said earlier, the best ideas come from a group of people creating something together. I am of the opinion that Kickstarters and gaming are going to go a very, very long way. Being able to participate in what you're making and having so many people share their ideas makes it all the better. I'm really excited about all that aspect. Actually, I'm excited about every aspect of it. So I want to say thank you for all that you've done and all you continue to do supporting Shroud of the Avatar. Fire Lotus?
Thank you guys for joining us. Very excited, my first Pen of the Avatar from Alaska, and so thrilled that I get to continue to be a part of this community and get to participate in these dev chats. It's just a fantastic part of my job. I have the best job ever, and I'm so glad that we get to share so much of what we do with you guys, and I think it brings a magic to it that I haven't seen in any of the other games I've worked on. So thank you for joining us, and thank you, Stephen, for sharing your vision with us and your technique and really educating us on how art is done.
It's been my pleasure, and I look forward to continuing to do it. Everyone, community, please have a wonderful week wherever you are, as far away as Finland and Sweden. Probably going to bed right now. That's great. And I don't know how far east we go, but I'm sure we'll find out. Please let us know. Thank you again for everything. This has been Pen of the Avatar. Bye.